Welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. Join hosts Dan Melnick and Qasim Masood as they explore big ideas, limitless possibilities, and engage with visionaries, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders who dare to dream big, get inspired, motivated, and find practical tips for personal growth. Think big, dream bigger, and ignite your potential.
Welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. We have Hamza filling in for Qasim today. And our guest today is David. So, David, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, tell us where you live and what you do for a living.
Yeah, so my name is David Hemm. I live in the Frisco, Texas area, so in Collin County here. And I am an insurance broker, specifically geared towards working with small businesses.
How did you get started doing what you're doing today?
Well, I kind of fell into this a bit. My in-laws started Ashworth Insurance Services back in 1997. So they've been doing this business for a long time, specifically working with small businesses and creating benefit packages and health insurance. So I've known about that for a long time. I've been married to my wife for about 10 years. So I've known for about a decade that this is what they do. They've tried to get me to do it in the past. But it wasn't actually until we started talking through succession planning that it kind of entered my mind to get into this business. So they've worked for 30 years at this, building kind of a business. And as we were talking through, what happens to this business, it was kind of like, well, I guess we'll just sell it at the end. And I was like, what a disappointing end to so much time poured into a business that the ending note of this business is we'll just kick it off to somebody else. So we started talking through what it would look like to keep it in the family, to actually make it be something that's legacy building, as opposed to just selling it at the end.
So, what were you doing before you did this, join this business? And what was that transition like? Because I'm sure it wasn't easy, you going and joining this business. That obviously, working with family always has challenges as well. So, what did all of that look like for you?
Well, my experience has been I've worked with large, medium, small businesses, and it seems to be that wherever I land, I build things. So I went to school to get a master's in organizational management, and I've worked for different companies, and I've done things like launch legal departments. I've helped launch new offices, which is what had brought me to Texas to begin with. And I've worked with just different size businesses to help kind of create things from nothing, to provide structure and framework. So I like to build and make something, but through that process, I've just learned how businesses work, and I see the behind the scenes issues in operations, and how companies get stuck on certain things. So the idea of problem solving and finding kind of custom tailored solutions isn't all that different from what I've done. Different product, but kind of same procedure of walking through and talking to business owners and kind of figuring out what is it that you're struggling with, what are kind of the issues, like what's unique to you. Your company's special, your company's unique, you've poured in time into this business and built it to where it is. So what's your unique struggle? And people don't come pre-packaged. Yeah, so it's kind of being able to work through all that, find out what it is that they really need. So that was kind of the transition wasn't as difficult as one would think of jumping into that. The learning the products isn't even the biggest deal to learn. There's a lot of help there, but how to actually talk and communicate and work with business owners and understand the way their minds work, that experience has come to play and helped a lot.
So, I was just going to ask, like, what a typical day looks like for you.
Typical day for me is early. So all those things that they tell you about getting up early is those things are true. Um, I'm an early riser, so I'm up before I have two young kids, so getting up before they're awake is always of benefit. I can put in a lot of time while it's dark, while I'm fresh. I get up around 4:30, make myself coffee and have a slow ease into my day. But my days look different. There's not really a set way that the days go of, there's always looking for new clients. There's always speaking to business owners, but each day presents its own unique challenges. In this world, because we now have a Zoom world, we're able to communicate a lot quicker and easier with people. It's instead of always having to drive to go meet with someone, we can do this, which is nice. It save you some time, but yeah, each day presents kind of its own thing. So I attack the day of just knowing what are my goals for the day. I try to set those at the end of the previous day before try to set my weeks Sunday nights looking forward into the rest of the week. So I have a game plan and goal and try not to waste very much time of trying to think through what I need to do, as much as I already have a plan set and it's just following said plan through the day. It keeps me organized and moving quickly.
So do you work with people mostly in DFW? Like, where are most of your customers located?
Well, I'm licensed in Texas and California. My in-laws, they're based out of California, and I'm based here in Texas. So it's kind of a cross between both states at the moment. There's a few others. We have some scattered in Idaho and Arizona, but for the most part, they tend to handle a lot of the in-person items in California, and I do that in Texas. So, but again, with our technology, you can kind of be you can be everywhere. But I tend to focus here in DFW for small businesses, specifically in the 2 to 100 employee range.
I was just going to ask, so in terms of in your industry, right, like what differentiates people who are successful versus people who are not? Like what does that look like? Because obviously, you've had some level of success. The business has been around for 30 years. What have they been able to do? What has your family business been able to do to be around for that long and to differentiate themselves from their competition?
Sure. Yeah, I think one of the major keys to that is customer service. So when I joined the business, my father-in-law, so he did this business, but he also worked in the commercial side and did workers' comp for even longer than this business has been around. So he's been doing it for probably 50 years. And he told me the same thing. He asked this question of what makes you different? What makes us different? Why would they go to us than anybody else? Why wouldn't they just go to one of the bigger, like a Paychex or one of the bigger one of the bigger agencies? And he was like, you're not really selling products here. You're selling customer service. What makes you different than everyone else is that you pick up your phone, is that you answer, is that you're available, that you can actually be reached, that you put in the time, you actually care about this business, that you actually care about these owners and these employees, that we care about people. He's like, I can't tell you how many times in this business we've gotten clients purely from the fact that when renewal came around, we actually talked to them about it. He's like, most people just grab their renewal stack and chuck it on someone's desk and walk away and say, hey, call me if you have a question. He's like, that's usually how I get a customer, because they've had that experience and I walk in behind them and go, I can help you with that. So being able to, I think that's the difference maker here is insurance company, people will claim a lot of things, and there's some flexibility in getting different quotes and stuff. But the reality is they're the same large companies that are providing insurance across the board. Your size of your company, the people you have, the health of them, all of that's kind of the same, and it doesn't change whether I help you or whether someone else helps you. Those things remain fixed. So what's the difference then? Why would you choose me than someone else? Is I'll actually help you. I'm available. I can actually get in contact with you. And I think the difference too is just getting to know business. There's a difference between high hustle selling and like an actual business partner, and which is why we focus on the smaller groups. We're not chasing huge corporations, and you can do that, but it's the the guy who has 5 employees, that's the one who really needs a partner to come alongside and actually provide a level of service, provide some help. Those are the guys that are doing everything themselves, that are running themselves ragged, trying to get this company off the ground and running. And so to actually be able to come in and provide service and help those guys is what continues to drive us, to help not only as we're building legacy here, but they're continuing to build legacy there. We're like-minded in that way. That's the unique thing about entrepreneurs who are starting from scratch and building businesses. They have bigger plans than where they're at now. So, ask them about their future. Where's their company going? What do they want? What are their dreams? Where do they see this? And that's how you can really build bond. That's how you can really build relationship, in this industry.
So, David, sorry for the microphone. So what's the technology role in your business?
Well, technology is ever growing and ever changing. We are beginning to move into new technology. That's my in-laws are of a older generation, where paper was king. So things are beginning to shift these days of being able to do online quotes, being able to do online signing for documents, being able to meet, Zoom or Teams or some sort of technology that way. So those are kind of the pieces that are moving. There's, things like AI and ChatGPT are helpful, at least in giving ideas, marketing type of ideas. So there's a little bit of a use, but I would say we're behind the ball there and moving forward, since I came on board. So we're trying to catch up a bit.
So, David, what do you think artificial intelligence can do for your business?
Well, I think content is king. I'm sure, as you guys are aware, and it becomes difficult, sometimes just to think of ideas. That tends to be the major roadblock. Is you're all excited and you have some ideas, and then you blow through those 15 ideas or so pretty quickly, and then you feel stuck again. So being able to use GPT and stuff like that, AI, to at least help think through ideas is helpful. There's no replacement for human touch. So AI still hasn't got there yet. It can still feel robotic and disconnecting from your prospects, from your clientele. So that it can get you going in the right direction, I think, is how it's best being used. It's obviously adjusting and changing as they keep leveling up, but for the moment, it still can't replace the human nature to it. So it's helpful to currently we're using it to be helpful to think through different topics and give some help that way.
Sure. So what would you say is the top priority for your business in the next 3 to 6 months?
I think we're working towards growth. It had reached a point where we couldn't really take on new business. It was kind of more catering and taking care of the one that we had, and being very cautious about who we brought on. When you reach that point of being, if you were to take on more, it would probably be too busy, and your service would be subpar. So where we've been looking at and how we've been trying to figure out to grow has more launched into how we do business, less opposed to changing anything. So changing the framework, changing the structures, changing the processes has allowed us to be able to grow and chase some more business. So that's new for us, as of a couple months ago, of reorienting again to actually go bring on some new clients. So that's kind of our focus, is heading that direction. I think continuing to adapt and add technology to assist us to kind of get up to speed and cover some of the things that we don't need to do anymore. I would say, for example, one would be like adding in chat function for frequently asked questions. I mean, you have the most similar things are asked all the time. So if we can at least outsource the common to be able to answer that way. That'd be helpful. So that would free up some more time too. But I think that's kind of our movement at the moment is let's continue to grow. Let's bring in some more small businesses that we can help out and make connections that way.
Awesome. So you mentioned this chatbot idea, but I guess in the last few months, what else have you done specifically that has been able to give you that bandwidth to take on more businesses or more clients?
I think we've been able to differentiate roles and responsibilities. So how one can help, what are our strong suits within our team? Like what are we uniquely good at? And instead of having everyone do things that they're good and bad at, instead separating those tasks out to those who are good at these, focus more on those, and vice versa. So my mother-in-law is a people person. She's great with the client. She loves to work with them. She handles most of our Medicare side of the business, and it requires a lot of knowledge because the government's rules and regulations around Medicare are incredibly confusing and complicated. And having a passion to help those clients be able to navigate that. And she's a people person. She loves to be able to talk, but she's incredibly the organization and the back end stuff and submitting quotes and getting apps out and all of those things are not her strong suit. So being able to pull that stuff out and be able to help move those things quicker along gives her a lot more time to be able to deal with customer faces, which is what she'd prefer to do and what she's good at. So that a change like that and being able to adjust. My father-in-law loves sales. He's an old school salesman, man. He will just walk into businesses and start chatting away with whoever he sees. So he prefers to just walk in, or he will literally pick up a phone book if those still exist and just start dialing and talking to people. He loves it. So we've released him and freed him to go ahead and do that. Go do what you love, man. Go talk to people. Go see how you can help. So, and then I've taken more of a back end role of helping kind of piece these things together, help move the business along. How can we incorporate the technology piece to help? How can we work a little more efficiently with our time and stay organized, not get brought down in the weeds, and be able to help that way. So it's been nice. It's been a nice little change, I think, for everyone to work in that way. And I think we're starting to see the fruit of it.
That's really cool. So you mentioned that there are certain types of clients, right, that you look for to onboard. So what specifically would you say is like in a perfect ideal world, is like your ideal, like perfect, small or medium-sized business that you really want to work with?
Yeah. If you ask my father-in-law, his perfect client is medical, just because in the world of medical, it's not going anywhere. People always need doctors. People always need help. Those companies tend to not close down. There's less volatility coming out of doctors' offices. So he likes the longevity of them. And usually those offices are swamped. Their admins and people who are actually handling insurance are usually overwhelmed. So we're able to actually come in and provide a service and a help, which depending on pawn industry or small business, they may have a little more help. They may have a little more administrative help, but it just seems to be the case that most of those offices are desperate for help. So he tends to focus that way. I look at it a little different. I see the value in that as well, but I care more about the owner, getting to know them. Like I tend to not even talk about insurance really in the first meetings, or like I want to know about their business. I want to know about this person in front of me, because that's going to tell me a lot more than really what industry they're in. It's that person that if I know that they'll make it, I don't have to really worry about the industry as much. You can tell pretty quickly from someone, especially in this smaller employee range, in the small business range, like if they're going to make it or not. There's just a unique drive to small business owners that shows up really quickly, and you can kind of tell like, yeah, they're gonna go far. And I love getting at the ground floor of those, of building those partnerships and being like, you know, I have no qualms riding the coattails of these successful business owners. So being able to go in and be like, this guy's going somewhere. This gal's like pushing this business along where she's going to go places. Being able to get in and recognize that and help them at this ground floor, and then provide them something, and love to see. Same question you asked me of where do you see the future of this business going? Where do you see this actually taking you, and walking through that journey with them? Because these small businesses of 5-10 employees become businesses of 100-200 employees real quick when you got someone in there who's really dedicated and is doing something special. So that's really who I tend to look for, is less about the business, less about all of that. It's tell me about the business owner, tell me what they're doing, tell me who they are and where they're going, and that will tell me if we're a good match or not for future business.
So David, if we were going to have this conversation in 1 year from now, what would things look like for your business?
That's a great question. If all goes according to plan, I think it may be the conversations of who else do we bring into this? What other individuals can we bring on board that will kind of take us to the next level? That will be able to help us, expand, help us to be able to move us, whether that's into more states, whether that's just being able to take on more clients because we've reached a cap again. What is it? But looking for people who are like-minded and want to build a legacy, and want to be able to build something that can be passed down. I think it helps in future planning. We tend to live in a short, quick digital age where we've got the attention span of a 7-second TikTok video, and it's hard to be able to be patient and to think long term of where do we want this to go. And if you can clarify your goals that way, if you can clarify your vision long term, it starts to shake out into priorities in the short term. If I'm looking at, hey, is this something that I would want to pass down to my kids? Is this something that I at least want available that they could do, that I am able to provide something like that to them? Kind of changes your perspective and your goals. It makes you less emotional. It makes you less in the moment, and you're able to actually think beyond that, think into the future, and that provides clarity even now in the moment of what decisions you make. So in a year from now, I think I honestly think that the mindset will probably be the same, but we may have shifted and begun to explore different ways to get there within a year from now. So I think that's kind of the change.
Awesome. So if somebody wanted to reach out to you or your business, do you mind sharing like your website, or how like the best way somebody could reach out to you?
Yeah, you can visit our website. It's www.ashworth-insurance.com. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm pretty active on there. My email is D as in David Hemm at ashworth-insurance.com, and happy to strike a conversation. Love to get to connect, know people, see where they're at, and see if I can actually provide a service, so I can help them and walk alongside them and see their business provide a legacy for their own family.
David, well, thank you so much for your time. We're rooting for you. Hopefully 1 year from now, we can chat again as you continue to scale even more.
Yeah, I'd love to. Appreciate you guys having me on.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right. Bye, you guys. Thank you.